Hey, everybody. We are live. Welcome to our weekly destination debrief. You might wonder why I'm dressed like this, and it's in theme because I just got back from Jackson Hole last night, and Jackson Hole is one of the destinations that we're going to be talking about today, and this is my new hat from Jackson Hole. I decided might as well be in theme today. We have a lot to cover, but really the goal for today is not so much to dive into all of the specifics about a place like Jackson Hole, where my hat's from, or Vail or Aspen, but really to understand what is the sort of like bird's eye view of these places? Who should you send to which place? There are clients that are going to be like, oh, no, I'm a Vail person through and through. And then there's clients who like to bop around and try different ones. It's good to know what's the personality of each one, just so that you can advise people in terms of where they're going. It's also for people who have never skied before, or maybe they've skied, but they haven't skied. They're now skiing as a family. Each of these has their own different personality and their own sort of things that you must know in order to have a successful trip there. So excited to go over them, and let's get started. So these are the places we're covering: Vermont, Colorado, Wyoming, obviously multiple places within Colorado, Montana, Utah, and California. And why? Ski is big business, and ski is business to start planning right now. So we are moving into ski season. Many of the resorts tend to open around Thanksgiving weekend out west. A little bit later, I was actually just texting with one of our advisors, Allie Woodman, about Stowe, and asked her if it would be crazy for me to book myself there with my kids for Christmas to do a drive distance ski thing. And she said, it depends. Sometimes there's, great snow then. And said last year it was kind of mostly rain. But out west, typically you do have the beginnings of the ski season around Thanksgiving. President's Week is the biggest time for ski. It is almost as busy. It might even be more busy and probably similarly as expensive as festive. For those who want to be planning for that President's Ski Week, they should be planning now, not only because of the hotel availability, but because of flights. We will talk about the airports for all of these destinations, but particularly if you have like an East Coast family that wants to fly into Eagle, which is the airport for Vail and Beaver Creek, if you plan those flights last minute, the nonstops are either sold out or are crazy expensive. So now is the time for you to be talking to your clients about ski, planning ski, and maybe buying a ski pass. Those are also commissionable, where you can sell ski passes. And then if you're doing above a certain amount of nights, it makes sense to do that. And then you have an Icon pass, you have an Epic pass, you can help them navigate through those. This tends to be a slightly longer trip as well. Just when you're thinking about bringing all of the stuff that you have to bring, it's probably 4 nights would be on the shorter end, probably more like 6. And that gives people time to have fun days on the mountain, maybe take a day off and relax, see some other things. But also, if you're going to schlep you and all of your stuff out to a ski resort, you are probably staying a little bit longer. So again, these are trips that are good to know about as we're moving into that, like, I've got a week to go skiing. We are not covering European ski in this one either, but that is obviously a growing trend, and we can do it a different one. So Vermont is really the only East Coast ski destination that we're going to cover, specifically Stowe. The rest are going to be more out west because that is really more of sort of like the best ski. We are going to talk about Stowe because that is very popular for the New Yorkers, Boston, Connecticut, that is sort of the closest that you get to that out west mountain when you are in the East, and then California and Utah. Okay. What are our most booked ski hotels? These sometimes surprise me and sometimes don't. Montage Big Sky is the number one. Doesn't surprise me at all. It's a great hotel, both winter and summer. It is new and was like the first sort of luxury hotel to come into the Big Sky area. The Wilson, which we'll talk about later, is our number 2, which is basically the opposite. It's the affordable option in Big Sky. So that's fun to see. Jerome, one of my favorites, in Aspen, as well as the Little Nell. Like, they're so amazing. And St. Regis, you can see we have a lot of Aspen. We did a big fun ski week out there last year, and I think it spawned a lot of sales for advisors who fell in love with it and then are sending their clients. And the Madeline, which is in Telluride. So really across the ski destinations, we've got sort of some of our top hotels. What is new? If you missed the memo, the Pendry opened in Park City, and it's great. I actually think it might have opened 23, not 24, but it was still finishing up. It is new, and it was, again, kind of a first of its kind. It's in the base village of Canyons, which Canyon Park City became one big one Park City resort, and it's ski in, ski out. It has amazing residences, and the prices always surprise me a little bit in the good way. Hotel Yellowstone, this just opened in Jackson Hole. I am just back from Jackson Hole. Unfortunately, didn't get to see it. It is right across from where Amangani is. Aman is actually closing now for renovations. Hotel Yellowstone is right there. So you're not ski in, ski out. But if you have clients who are going to Jackson Hole and want to do some skiing, but also kind of be out with beautiful views, Hotel Yellowstone is one to take a look at. And then One and Only Moonlight Basin opening in Big Sky will be a really great one coming online. Now, let's start with Vermont. I won't spend too much time on this because the basics of it are, it is the closest that you get to that sort of out west ski mountain out east. You are talking about there's one of the hotels, the Lodge at Spruce Peak. It's the big base area. You've got ski in, ski out. You've got a village with fun restaurants and pubs. So that it gives the feeling of like, I'm almost like in a Telluride, but I'm in Vermont where I can drive to. Reliability for weather, it's going to be a little bit later, so really great for more February and March versus earlier in the season. Getting there, the drive, it can be short or it can be very, very long. It depends on the weather and depends on the traffic, so just be aware. It is incredibly popular for President's Day weekend because the snow is good and it's a drive market, so make sure if you have clients interested in going, like Spruce Peak will probably have minimum stays now and will fill up, so plan those ahead of time. Great ski school, all of those things that you will like. Also, a popular summer destination. You can see what it looks like in the fall too. Great for hiking, but people are thinking about ski right now, so talk to them about that. I'm not going to go deep into all of these slides because we have so much to cover, but this is going to come to you guys afterwards so you can read through it more. Let's talk about 2 places to stay. Because we're going through so many destinations, we are not going to dive deep into all the hotels, but I wanted to give you a couple options to have in your brains. Lodge at Spruce Peak, that's what you're seeing here. That is the big lodge. It used to be called Stowe Mountain Lodge. And to this day, I always have to Google Stowe Mountain Lodge to find out that it's called Lodge at Spruce Peak because I can never remember that that's what it renamed as. But it is the Stowe Mountain Lodge in that sense. It is at the base. It is ski in, ski out. It's a combination of rooms and residences. Great for families who want to be able to have that sort of condo feeling. But also be on the mountain. They vary in terms of quality. I think they sort of distinguish them by saying they're deluxe or they're premium or whatever. So just take a look at that. This isn't going to be like a Four Seasons level of finish, but that's okay. You're there for being outside and for being on the mountain. Field Guide is different. Field Guide is like cute, boutique-y. It's in Stowe Village. It's not in Space Mountain area. So you're going to drive to and from the mountain, but it's like affordable or more affordable and kind of cool, a little bit of like the motel that's been revamped. Just another good one to know for something that's at a different price point, not on the mountain, but has like a lot of style. Few restaurants to consider while you're there, although there's lots of them. And now let's move into Colorado because we have a lot more to cover there. All right, I'm going to talk about the airports as we're going through each destination because that is a really big part of planning your client's ski vacation is getting them to their destination. Denver is an airport. Obviously, Denver always has like more flights, more reliability, better pricing than these ski ones. It can be challenging to drive from Denver into some of these ski areas. Telluride's too far away. Vail, you can drive to from Denver. It's about 2.5 hours. We said 1.5, I would say more like 2. But that's because in the summer, great. But in the winter, the mountain pass that you go through can close in case there's bad weather. So keep that in mind. You can do it, but there can be weather issues that will make it harder. Driving to Aspen from Denver is really far. Sometimes people will do it because those Denver flights are so much better. But typically, you might land in Denver and then connect into some of these others. And we're going to go into the specifics of these other airports as we get into those resorts. When to visit? I'm such a Colorado fan. It is all year round. Obviously, you have your ski season, which should start around Thanksgiving and goes really into April. I'm a big fan of spring skiing because I don't like the cold weather. And then all of these mountain villages are fantastic in the summer. So instead of skiing, you are biking, you are hiking, you are rafting, you are fishing, you are doing all of the, in a way, sort of like the dude ranch types of activities that everybody's such a fan of, but you're doing it and staying in a hotel versus a ranch, which is way more affordable. I love the mountain villages in spring and summer and fall. Okay, we're going to start with Aspen. I am going to dive a little bit more into this because this is one of the complications of selling Aspen. It's 4 mountains. Aspen Mountain, or Ajax, is the one that's in Aspen Village. There are very few properties that are ski and ski out. We'll talk about one of them, but you're in the village and it's for advanced skiers. You are not sending your little kids to ski school there. You can have private instructors there, but it's a more advanced mountain. Aspen Highlands, next one over. This has the bowls that you can hike to. This also has Cloud 9, which we'll talk about later. I did not put any photos myself at Cloud 9 because nobody needs to see that. But Aspen Highlands is sort of advanced skiing plus this fun party scene at Cloud 9 that Aspen is so famous for. Buttermilk. Buttermilk has beginner ski classes. It also is where they do the X Games. So it has some really cool stuff that you can watch when people, whether it's during the X Games or people just on these terrain parks, but also has lots of really great groomers. It's a little bit quieter, a little bit smaller. These are kind of 1, 2, 3. You are taking a shuttle from your hotel into these other mountains. Now, Snowmass is farther out. Snowmass is so big that the terrain on Snowmass is bigger than all 3 other mountains combined. And Snowmass is everything from advanced down to beginners. This is the primary area that most people are using for ski school for kids or ski school for beginner adults is over at Snowmass. Talking about 20 minutes between them. So just remember that when you're talking about Aspen, most of the hotels are either in Aspen town or on Snowmass. If you have families that have little kids that are going to be in ski school, they probably want to stay in Snowmass and like drive into Aspen for meals or for an afternoon of shopping. If you have more advanced skiers or people who are there a little bit more for the scene and the nightlife, you want them to be in Aspen town, although they should go over to Snowmass to ski it. Hotels, so many here. When we did our ski week in April, I mean, we were just looking at hotels constantly and, we still didn't get to see all of them. But the Viceroy Snowmass is sort of the one that is most often being used in Snowmass. It has residences in it. So you have a full kitchen, which is really nice. When you're on a ski trip, you have a washer and dryer, something that's a little bit bigger. They're also building a whole new section. So if you're booking it for this winter, there was a lot of construction when we were there in the spring. Make sure that you're checking the residences, which building they're in, because there's the older ones and then there's going to be the newer ones. So again, probably a price point difference too there. Just keep an eye on that. But great one. Right at the base of Snowmass. Snowmass has built up a lot of other stuff too. So you have non-skiers that want to do the shopping in Aspen Village. That's where you're going to want to put them. But over here, they have tubing. They have this alpine coaster. It's really fun if you have somebody who's not really a skier but wants to be active. Now onto the Jerome. So stylish. This is the Auberge Hotel that is in Aspen Village. It's probably a 2-minute shuttle ride up to the mountain. They will shuttle you up there with all of your stuff. So it's not like you're walking through town. But what can be kind of nice is that at the end of the day, you can drop your stuff and then off to Après and you're right there in town. Very stylish, kind of masculine, old Western. This is a hotel with a ton of history in it and just one of my favorite places to go for a burger at J Bar. Even if you're not staying, you've got to go by the Jerome. And then the Little Nell. This is the one ski in, ski out that is in Aspen. It is fabulous. And it is both the Little Nell Hotel as well as the Little Nell residences. They flank the gondola. So you are right there. You walk directly out onto the snow. You get on the gondola. At the end of the day, you come down and you are right there. Little Nell it's a very different look. It's a little bit more contemporary than the Jerome, which is a little bit more sort of moody, I guess, in the decor, but really, really a wonderful hotel and just fabulous service. So these are 3 very different ones. They're all so great. And then there's many more. I think we actually did an Aspen training after our fam. So go watch that or just ask me I could talk about Aspen forever and ever. Here's some of our favorite places to eat. This is a very edited list. There's so many places, but Cloud 9 is on here. This is important. If you have clients, even if they haven't heard of Cloud 9, when they get there, they're going to. So you have to tell them about this ahead of time because it has to be booked. There are 2 seatings. It is lunch only, and it is only during ski season. It is on Aspen Highlands, and you need to be a decent skier enough to get in and to get out. So you've got to be a decent skier. And then what it is it's sort of DJs and champagne spraying. There's food. The food's actually very good, but there are 2 seatings. The earlier one tends to be a little bit calmer. The later one is the big party one. So if people want that classic big Aspen, people are on the tables dancing in their ski boots, that is Cloud 9, and that is the later ski seating, and that sells out for Saturdays and Sundays. So make sure you plan that one well ahead of time. It's like, because then they want to go and they can't get in and they're fussy about it. So just make sure that's one that you let people know. Not really one for the kids. You can go, if it's a sunny day, they have an outdoor space too. And you can bring children, but certainly the later one is not a play little ones. And then some other spots. Okay. This is more tips on Aspen, which we will send you, but let's move on to Vail, which is, I believe, where we're going to do our ski week this year. Vail is, again, another one where there's not a lot that's ski and ski out, but it's totally different. Whereas Aspen is this classic Western town that was sort of there before the mountain was built. Vail was built really by soldiers who had come back from World War II and seen these sort of alpine villages and decided that they wanted to build something that sort of inspired by this. So it actually looks like an Austrian village, which sounds kind of Disney and weird, but it totally works. It's pedestrian. You walk through it. It's like they heat the walkways so there's no snow on it. You walk up to the gondola in the morning, you pick up your skis and off you go, or you stay in Lion's Head. So primary Vail Village, which is where it's sort of the Aspen. Lion's Head is the Snowmass in the sense, short shuttle ride in between them, but Lion's Head does have a ski and ski out hotel, and this is where the young kids ski classes leave from. So I prefer staying in Vail Village, but if you want to be right there at ski school drop off, that is Lion's Head. Also, Vail is known for their bowls that are accessible via lifts. So Aspen has those bowls too. You're hiking up to it in Highlands. In Vail, you have the back bowls that you can actually get to on the lifts, and they're not super challenging. And that's another thing. When you have skiers who are sort of intermediate skiers and want to have that bowl experience, you can do that at Vail. Vail does tend to be a little bit more crowded than Aspen because you do have that drive market from Denver that comes up, whereas it's just harder to get to Aspen. So it can be a little bit busier, but that's really only right at the main gondola. After that, I mean, it's a huge mountain. You are not ever on a crowded slope. And I've been there during Easter week where it's at its busiest. Okay, few places to stay. There is a Four Seasons here. It is lovely. It is right at the end of the pedestrian part of Vail Village. Sometimes people say it's far away. It's not far away at all. They do have a ski concierge on the mountain. So you just leave and you walk up in the morning to the ski concierge. You pick up your stuff and go. It is a lovely, less than 10-minute walk. They have both rooms and residences. I was just with their GM this week in Jackson. They have renovated everything. They also do have a beautiful outdoor pool and sort of more services if people are not so into the skiing. Like you have somebody in the family really wants to ski, somebody else doesn't. It is a great place to put them. The other thing to know specifically about the Four Seasons is they have a series of private residences that are very nice, quite pricey, and contemporary. So if you have those sort of super high-end clients who want to be in a ski area but don't like that traditional ski decor that tends to exist, like that really, really picky person, Four Seasons has these private residences that work really well for that. Very specific kind of person, but it's a good one to know. Grand Hyatt there, another super reliable option. And this one is a little bit farther down and does have access to a trail. And then Sun and Alp. I love the Sun and Alp. The Sun and Alp it feels like a little Swiss chalet. It's not the newest, most updated rooms by any stretch of the imagination. Some of them have kind of funky layouts, like little stairs that climb up to a little loft that overlooks it. I love this hotel though. It's full of character. You have to go into it wanting that European charm. Has a great fondue restaurant, but for people who love the Sun and Alp, it really is great. And when you're thinking about location, Sun and Alp is right here, sort of as you enter into the pedestrian park of Vail Village, right across from the Sebastian, which we'll mention later is one of the restaurants, and then kind of right up the street is the Four Seasons. These are all very, very close, very close. Such good food in Vail. Again, this is like Aspen, a place that people go and you eat really well. You can go to very, very fancy places like Matsuhisa, which is in the Solaris, which is a condo development that we can also book and overlooks the ice skating rink that's in town. Sweet Basil, super famous. Again, plan these reservations well ahead of time. But I wanted to add in Vendetta's as a total local spot. It is a good, greasy pizza and beer kind of place. You'll see ski patrol there at the end of the day having drinks. So Vail is not all, and I think this is the same thing for Aspen. Sometimes people picture these as places that are only super shishi, and there's not. There's still a lot of that local vibe that's there. Vendetta's is one of the places that you got to go. And also, frankly, ski trips are really expensive. It's nice to have one meal that's like a pizza meal, not so expensive. A few tips about this, and actually let me pause and talk about airports here. So yes, the tips are, of course, book ski school early. All of this is really important. You want to make sure that you're planning for traffic if you're not staying right in the village. But one thing about the airports. So Eagle is the airport that services Vail and Beaver Creek. Eagle is about an hour, I think, to Vail, similar, maybe a little bit less to Beaver Creek because they're kind of right beside each other. You can also drive from Eagle up to Aspen. It's about an hour and a half. Obviously, could be more in traffic. Aspen Airport is small, and Aspen Airport is prone to weather delays and cancellations because it's a short runway and it's like right in the middle of the mountains. Very exciting place to take off and land. When it is middle of the ski season. Eagle is farther down in the valley, like lower in terms of altitude and bigger runway. It gets less. Now, all ski areas can have delays and cancellations. It tends to get less than the Aspen airport. I like to fly into Eagle when I'm going to Aspen as well. And also because it has nonstops versus the connections in Denver, wherever else you're going from. So just something to know about that Eagle versus Aspen airport. All right. Let's move into Telluride now. So Telluride is not drivable from Denver. This is much farther away in the state. But like Aspen, it has kind of a funny airport situation. There is a Telluride airport. It is a challenging airport to land in and is known for weather delays and cancellations. There is Montrose, which is a much bigger airport that has nonstops. Again, Telluride Airport, you're always connecting in if you're coming from most major cities. Montrose has more nonstops. It's a bigger airport, lower elevation, more reliable, and then about an hour and a half drive to Telluride. So most of the time when I'm booking people in Telluride, I'm having them fly into Montrose and drive. You can fly into Telluride. Look, it's much more convenient to land there and then just be a few minutes into town, but can be prone to delays. So that's just one of those things to know. Why Telluride? Telluride does have its classic mountain town. So it's really divided between the mountain town and then up at the mountain village. If you want ski and ski out, you're up there. If you want to be in town, you're down in town, and really has kind of like Aspen, more that like authentic vibe. The other thing to know is that there is great backcountry and there is heliski, great heliski here. So if you have people who are looking for that, that is something you can do in Telluride and do quite well. Now, couple places we're talking about, they're actually both auberge here, but they're very different. The auberge residences at Element 52, it's really more of like an apartment building than it is a hotel. These are huge, beautiful residences. You book specific residences, they can go up to many bedrooms, like 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, I think even. If you have multi-gens or bigger families, this is a great place to put them. Full kitchens, all of that. It is a hotel. They do have a concierge. They do have a fitness center, all of that. But there's no hotel rooms. It's all residences. It's not right in town, nor is it right up in the village. You kind of have your own little access point to go up. So just know that you're like not kind of right in the middle of anything, but great residences. And I've had really picky people who come here again and again. And then the Madeline. The Madeline is the auberge hotel that is right on sort of the base area, and it was just renovated. So the thing about the Madeline before was like great location if you want ski and ski out right in the base area. You want to drop your kids off at ski school. You yourself want to go to ski school, but needed a renovation, and it's had it. I am excited to get out there, hopefully this season, and see it. Great food and drink in Telluride. And again, this is one of those places like consider it for your clients in the summer as well as in the winter. That should say that about all of those. Beaver Creek. We are moving quickly because we have so much to cover. We're not even out of Colorado yet. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to speed up. Main thing to know about Beaver Creek, like with some of these other places, there's Beaver Creek Village, and then there are other base areas. We are going to talk mostly about hotels in Beaver Creek Village because that is the most convenient place to be in. But Bachelor Gulch is an extension of Beaver Creek. Beaver Creek is known for having great ski school, being a little kinder and gentler. If you're an beginner or intermediate skier, there's still a ton that you can cover. Super family friendly, big ice rink in town. They hand out chocolate chip cookies. It's a fabulous place for families. Feels a little more low key. Not a fabulous place for people who want like nightlife and sort of the Aspen scene. This is a little bit more calm. I remember passing 2 guys in Opry, and it was like they both had beer in plastic cups and they were like listening to Blues Traveler. And I was like, well, this is Beaver Creek. This is not the Cloud 9. Bachelor Gulch is where the Ritz-Carlton is. It does have a bit more of an après scene there. You can connect through all of them via slopes. So if you want to end your day in Bachelor Gulch, have people end their day there for après, you will have to take a shuttle back, and the shuttle is probably like 15 minutes. If you stay in Bachelor Gulch, you will have to take that shuttle into Beaver Creek Village for ski school. And if you're ending the day, you will have to take it back, but they are connected all via slopes. That's just kind of the trick of knowing when you're selling this, because if you sell them all as one place, you could have very upset people. Beaver Creek Lodge, Park Hyatt, Beaver Creek, specifically Park Hyatt is really kind of the classic, like big on the mountain hotel that is right there. And then the Ritz-Carlton, it is a fantastic hotel, is over in the Bachelor Gulch area. So for somebody who wants access to the whole mountain, wants a little bit more of a vibe, that is a great place to put them as long as they know the thing about getting to the base area for ski school. Other places to eat and drink, I really want to highlight Beano's because these are really fun. And again, book these ahead of time where they actually take you up in a little sleigh and you get to go and eat in this place up in the woods. Some of them are also done on ski cats. I did that with my kids, really fun. And now we're moving into Wyoming. We have finally gotten out of Colorado. Jackson Hole, just got back. I'd never been to Jackson Hole during summer, and it was truly like 80-degree summer weather there this week. It is, and I may love it more during summer than during winter, but it is obviously very popular during the winter. Now, what is it known for? And you are flying into Jackson Hole Airport, recently redone. It is a much bigger airport than it used to be. It's Wyoming in the winter. Like, you can have issues with weather, but they've really like made the airport nicer, and you do have nonstops from a lot of different places. It's going to be about 45 minutes. They've been doing some construction work, which can take it even longer, but it should be around 45 minutes from the airport into Teton Village. Again, with every place, there's a little trick. Here's what you have to know about Jackson Hole. Teton Village is at the base of the ski mountain. If people want to be ski in, ski out, they have to be in Teton Village. The town of Jackson Hole is probably 15 to 20 minutes from Teton Village. That is where you have famous places like Million Dollar Cowboy Bar, all of the restaurants, or hotels like the Hotel Jackson or Cloudvale. Those are all in town. Amangani, which is closing now for renovations, so don't book that right now, wait until they're done, or that new Hotel Yellowstone. They're like in the middle. They're up on top of a hill with like beautiful views, but they are neither in Teton Village nor are they in Jackson Hole town. So just know that, because again, if you put somebody in the Hotel Jackson and they're there to ski and they have to drive 20 minutes to get to the airport, that might be fine with them because it's going to be more affordable, but they need to know that ahead of time. Year-round destination. The only thing to know is the snows do come early. The mountains already had snow on them. Some of it from last season still there, some of it already happening. So if you think you'll be there in late October and have like sunny weather and be hiking, bring a heavy coat. Why Jackson Hole? Jackson Hole is known for a couple things. One is the town is really cool, and the other one is the terrain. It actually got kind of an unfairly advanced reputation where it used to be like it is really challenging. There is great backcountry. There are slopes that I have ended up on that I was like, ooh, I shouldn't be here. But it really is, they've made some changes, and it is about 50% advanced. So again, for a super advanced skier, they're going to have lots of terrain, but about 50% intermediate and beginner. So there are still, as a beginner or as an intermediate, there's still a lot you can do. I have had my kids in ski school here, and this was before they'd added more of those blues. It's an amazing ski school. It's a much more rugged ski school versus like Beaver Creek or Aspen, where they're like very gentle. This is one, they get them out there and they get them doing everything. So you can still feel really good about putting little kids in ski school or bringing beginner skiers to here. There's such good vibes, but it is a place that's kind of famous for its advanced terrain. Where to stay? Amangani. So closed and announced the closure today. This is good timing. It will reopen and it will be fabulous. I'm actually really excited that it's renovating. So keep an eye on this one, even though you shouldn't be booking it right now. It is going to be spectacular when it reopens. Four Seasons, Jackson Hole, that is where I was staying this week. This is the classic on mountain, and it is so wonderful. They just take such good care of everybody. They have both rooms and residences. Everything has been renovated recently, so everything feels very fresh. And that is one that you can book there. And then the Hotel Terra. This is my more affordable option that is in Teton Village. So if Four Seasons is right there by the gondola, the Hotel Terra is just kind of around the corner, very walkable to everything. And it's just much more affordable. I will say the rates, like, just always check, like, I always have to compare what's on the website, but it is a great one. They also do have a great setup for families where they have a one-bed suite that has a Murphy bed that pulls down in the living room, which is nice because then you can like put it away during the day so you don't have an extra bed taking up space, and with a kitchen. So make sure you look at that one for something that's a little bit less expensive, but 3 good options to know about. Tons of food and drink here. This is like you gotta go out. It is totally worth going into town. Sometimes the weather can get a little dicey in Jackson Hole. It's Wyoming in the winter. It's fun to take a day and just say, we're gonna take a day off in the mountain today and go in and explore town. Cafe Genevieve is just actually on a very windy, cold, snowy day. I was sitting at Cafe Genevieve there in the winter and going, this is like the most amazing spot to be just like cozying up with some biscuits. Million Dollar Cowboy Bar. I think this may be, FYI, not kid friendly. I think there's a minimum age because it is like line dancing and steaks and beers. There's no seats at the bar. There's just saddles that you sit on. It is super, super cool. And then Teton Thai. You have to send your clients to Teton Thai. It is in the village. It's right outside of Teton Village. You can like walk there, or they run a shuttle. It is maybe my favorite Thai food I've ever had in the US, and it is in Teton Village. Who knew? but totally fantastic. And then Handlebar along with Mangy Moose are kind of the classic opry places in town. Few tips from Allison Holmes, one of our great advisors, on what else to know. All right, moving into Montana. Montana, also known for advanced terrain, also for a long time known as like, but nowhere good to stay. So you would like book clients there because they were like, I want to ski Big Sky. But it was like roughing it for a lot of people. No longer. We have the Montage. We're getting a one and only. All of that is really good. But how are you getting there? You're flying into Bozeman. And from Bozeman, you're driving. It's about an hour, can be longer if the weather's bad. But so, plan for that. But you are flying into Bozeman, and Bozeman does have nonstops, obviously West Coast as well as East Coast. You don't really need a car. By the way, in all of these places, you don't need a car during the winter once you're there. If you want it for driving to and from, or because you think you're going to be doing a lot of stuff off the mountain, that's fine. But like, you also don't really need it. Why Big Sky? So Big Sky, like I said, was kind of known as this like hardcore skier's paradise, but a little bit rough in it around the edges. They have really upgraded, put in new lifts, gondolas. They've upgraded now the offerings in terms of places to stay. So it's gotten nicer, but it still has that, it's Montana, it's kind of rugged and just great, great terrain. Where are we staying? I'm going to really focus here on these two because they're our top two booked hotels. Montage, we talked about this. This was like finally the 5-star option in Big Sky. It is ski in, ski out. It's great in the summer too for people who are doing Yellowstone. Montage, as we know, is always great with families, but also a good spot for couples. Now the Wilson. Yes, we have a Residence Inn in our training. Have you ever seen a Residence Inn in the training? Well, actually, if you were in my Chile training, you heard me talk about the Holiday Inn at the Santiago airport, which is actually pretty great if you need it. Now I'm talking about a Residence Inn. This is in the town of Big Sky. Town of Big Sky is like not so much to talk about. It kind of like is what it is. This isn't Telluride. This isn't Aspen, but there is a town. The Wilson is the Residence Inn that is in town, and it is affordable, and you can drive up to the mountain, and it is actually quite decent. So good one to know about. I love things that might surprise clients. So where you can say things like, look, I know Montage might be a little pricey for you. There's this place called the Wilson. It's technically a Residence Inn and you have to drive up, but like it's actually pretty nice. So I love having those that you can throw out or earn you some serious flex with your clients. Thank you so much to Brooke Tuckman for her recommendations for where to eat and where to drink. She spends a lot of time up here and knows it really well. So we've added those in. And then just some tips. It is a little bit lower in elevation. By the way, elevation can really affect people. One of the questions I ask if somebody hasn't done these mountains before is I say, are you really affected by elevation? Because that can be something that might help you narrow it down. So like Aspen is very high elevation, Vail is very high elevation. Jackson Hole is more like, Aspen is at like 8,000, Jackson is more like 6,500. So like I felt it, but not quite as badly. Whistler, which we're not talking about, is lower. And then Big Sky is a little bit lower elevation as well. But it's Montana, so the weather is going to be, this isn't just like this, sunny bluebird days all the time that you're getting in Colorado. The weather can be a little bit rougher, but really great. Okay, let's move into a place that's actually easy to get to. Yay! Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City has flights to and from everywhere. This was actually what I had to use this week connecting out to Jackson Hole because there's no nonstops right now. And it is a big, well-serviced airport that can tend to be more reliable. And you are only 40 minutes then from Park City and Deer Valley. Hallelujah. Plus all the other ski areas that are around there. You have flights from both coasts that come in here. You also have flights into other destinations that people might want to combine. So for example, you can fly from Salt Lake City to Puerto Vallarta, where we just did a training recently on Punta Mita. So if you have somebody who has 2 weeks of spring break and they want to do ski and sun, you can actually get flights around these. So really great destination when you want a little bit ease of getting in and out. Also tends to bring the prices down because like I was saying with those Eagle flights that get so expensive because there's so many more flights that go into Salt Lake City. It's like you get more of like the pricing of Denver, but the accessibility of Eagle. You're driving up into Park City / Deer Valley. I'll talk a little bit about the differences of those. This is, as we've said with the other ones, like year round. The weather is like a little bit more, like a little bit more gentle. So like, whereas I will send somebody to go on like a cozy, cool, but hiking trip in October in Park City, I would like warn against it in Montana, just in case the weather's already turned. And why Park City or Deer Valley? So Deer Valley is known for something I don't like so much, they don't allow snowboarders, and I don't know how to ski. So I can't go to Deer Valley. You have to tell people that, because one thing, if they are happy that snowboarders aren't on the mountain because they feel like we ruined the slopes for them, like, kids, get off my lawn, they may like that about Deer Valley. The other thing is that they limit ski ticket sales, so you have to purchase those ahead of time, which means that it really is less crowded. It's known for being very well groomed. I wish they would let me on it, because like it's like a cruise all day kind of place, and that is the point that I'm at in my life. Park City, again, was Park City and Canyons, and then it was bought by Vail Resorts, I think, and combined and sort of upgraded. So it was sort of known before. Park City was kind of the locals mountain, and Deer Valley was the very shishi fancy one. They've really upgraded the other one, so now they're all shishi fancy, but still, that one is the one also that allows snowboarding, and it's huge. It is much more terrain. If you have a family that wants to stay over at one of the hotels in Deer Valley, then and they have a snowboarder, they can shuttle them over. Just remember that you are being shuttled over. The other thing to know too about Park City is that Main Street, Park City, is super cool. So obviously there's the famous film festival that's there every year. You may have seen pictures from there. There's Main Street and then it's a small little town, but a really cool town, like great restaurants, great shopping, great sort of Western vibes. Where to ski and stay? So we talked about Pendry. Pendry is really important because it was the first like nice place that was in like ski and ski out for Park City in Canyons Village. This is where ski school leads from. And it's stylish. Pendry is like cool. It's Montage's kind of cool. So I don't want to say like a little sister, because it's not necessarily a step down in terms of like services, but it's just like more contemporary, a little bit more vibey. And they've got one there. And thank goodness, because it used to be like, if you're a snowboarder, I'm sending you putting you in the St. Regis and you have to drive over there. Goldner Hirsch is over in Deer Valley. So most of the high-end hotels are there in Deer Valley. Goldner Hirsch was just completely redone. So if you say Goldner Hirsch and somebody goes, ew, that one's like old. No more. Auberge took it over. They're doing such a good job in these ski areas. I'm so excited about that. And now it has been completely redone. And then the St. Regis. St. Regis is ski and ski out. It's a very like sort of easy slope that brings you down into the base area of Deer Valley, which is where ski school goes from. So you do have to like kind of ski it. At the end of the day, what you do is you come down in the base village, and then they have a little funicular that takes you up. So it's like, it's maybe ski in, maybe not exactly ski out, but it's a great hotel. I love it. And it is the closest of the sort of luxury hotels that is to Deer Valley base village. If you're at Golden Hirsch, if you're at Stein Eriksen, if you're at the Montage Deer Valley, you are up on the mountain, so you can ski out from there. But then if you're taking your kids to ski school or yourself, you will have to come down into that base area. Private instructors can pick up from anywhere. Montage, we do have that there. Again, that's up in the mountain. It's great. What it is very famous for, it has a bowling alley and it's like fun restaurant in the basement that has like bowling alley and video games and like pizzas and super casual. So that is a place, even if you're not staying, you definitely need to go there for dinner. I will say I was there without kids and I still loved it. So it's not just for families. And then Stein Eriksen. Stein Eriksen has two locations. They have the classic, this is like the classic Deer Valley place, Stein. They redid recently, which I do think that they needed, but it is a really classic sort of Deer Valley mountain lodge. They have the Stein residences, which are not in the same place. They're in kind of a separate spot that are much more contemporary. Not everybody loves them. I toured them when they were under construction. I actually liked them. They were very slick and new. It's not the typical Deer Valley look, but that's another one that you can choose from. Just remember, Stein Eriksen residences are separate from where Stein Eriksen itself is. And Stein Eriksen residences are full residences. They are owned and then booked out through Stein. Stein Eriksen Lodge is the lodge. They do have rooms as well as suites. Some great restaurants. Thank you, Melanie Pink, for sharing these out. One hotel that's not on here that I'm going to just mention briefly in case people ask you about it, Lodge at Blue Sky. I love Lodge Blue Sky. It is in Park City. It is not in Park City. It is not on the mountain. It is a way you can drive in. You could use it as a base to go skiing, so you can go there. But it is a beautiful mountain lodge that is more where I send people for that, like October hiking or the summer. It's not typically the place that I would have as like a first choice for a ski trip, because you would be about like 20 minutes probably driving to get to the base area, but it is beautiful and I love it. Just in case somebody says, what about Lodge at Blue Sky? Know that the location is not a ski location. It's a little bit like the Amangani thing in Jackson Hole. Like, love that hotel. You are not on the mountain, nor are you in town. Tahoe. Well, this one's going to be fast because I actually really don't know Tahoe well, but I wanted to make sure that we included it. Why do I not know Tahoe? Right here, the fact of where it is and how you get there. Tahoe is much more of a West Coast skier's mountain. You can drive from San Francisco, or you could fly to San Francisco and then drive. Do you see me flying all the way to San Francisco and then getting on a 4-hour drive? No, sir. I will not be doing that. Or you fly into Reno, and this tends to be what the East Coasters do, is flying to Reno, and then it's only about an hour, hour and a half. So it is a little bit harder to get to for our East Coasters. It tends to be something that's more popular with the West Coasters. Lots of San Francisco people I know, like, they have a little condo that they rent up there for the winter. And then we do have the amazing Amanda Bates, who's one of our advisors, who's actually based there. So we have great knowledge of Tahoe, but just not for me because it's so hard to get to. But great place for the summer as well as the winter. Here's some more information about what to know about it. Really popular with families. And then a couple resorts. Ritz-Carlton is a Ritz-Carlton. It's exactly what you would expect with it. And it does have both condos as well as rooms. And then the Edgewood. We love the Edgewood. This is actually one of our, I've seen this book, the bookings really fly up, especially over the summer. A lot of people were booking it because it's by the lake, but this is also another space that you can use as a ski resort. A few restaurants to know about. Tahoe is very spread out. So there's a lot of different parts of Tahoe, different villages to investigate. Oh, that's from our Aspen Ski Week. I recognize that. That's actually, I think that's our lovely Diana and Brooke Tuckman there looking so cool on the slopes. Okay, a few just need to knows about ski trips in general. I know we've blasted through all these different ski resorts. Hopefully this helps you understand a few tidbits that you should have in your head about selling these places and who you would put where. Let's talk about some things to know that are ancillary, but pretty essential to ski trips. Ski schools. There are ski classes, group classes. There are private lessons. There are private instructors that are not part of a mountain. So let's go what these are, because this is expensive. So you'd plan this ahead of time. Also, if you're using one of our partners like Alpine Adventures or Ski USA, if you book the whole thing as a package, ski school can be commissionable. Ski school classes, you're signing up for group classes, and they are done based on age, whether if you're talking about children, or ability if you're talking about adults. They are never big groups. They're all great. You should feel really good about putting yourself or a kid or a client into one. Private lessons, that's going to be a private instructor with you and one or two other people. Obviously, you're going to get a little bit more one-on-one attention there. It is more expensive, but they will be able to take you through the ski school line to cut the lines. There are private instructors that you can hire at ski resorts, but that are not associated with the resort. That tends to mean that you get a private instructor for less than if you had a private instructor through the ski resort. Ski resorts don't like this. This person has to kind of pretend like they're not a ski instructor and cannot go through the fast line. So you're not going to be able to go through the fast line. You're going to go through the regular line. So just know that ahead of time in case clients bring it up. There's always parking at the base areas. Again, I really recommend don't rent a car unless you have a very specific reason that you want to have it. Even me, last time I flew into Aspen, I flew into Eagle. I rented because I didn't want to pay for a transfer. I rented a car from the Eagle airport. I drove it to the Aspen airport. I returned it same day, and then I took the free shuttle into town from there. You really don't need a car most of the time, but there is parking if you think you're going to use it. Consider these multi-resort passes like Icon or Epic when you're talking to your clients, because again, you can sell these. They are commissionable, and they help people kind of curate okay, well, I've got this in order to monetize it. I need to do this many days of skiing. So let's plan out my whole season. Do make sure that people do not leave these lift tickets until the last minute. They are limited in some, like Jackson Hole, for example, another one like Deer Valley that limits how many they sell. And they are often less expensive if you do them ahead of time. Ski trips are expensive. What to wear, obviously, layering is key. It really is important to talk to people about making sure they pack the right stuff and bring the right stuff, because you're not going to enjoy your trip if you're freezing the whole time. There are services like Luggage Free where you can ship. So if somebody's worried about checking luggage and losing luggage or just doesn't want to deal with it, you can use something like Luggage Free to ship all of your ski stuff out and back. But you do need all of these. Helmets are typically, you can rent them as well. So I don't travel with ski gear. I just rent all of that stuff there. But that helmet is something that you can also rent along with skis, boots, etc. Avalanche awareness, this isn't going to affect most of any of us, but know that it is there. And if you have clients who are big backcountry skiers, they're probably aware of this already. Après. Après is my favorite part of the day. Après is at all of these, except for limited in Beaver Creek Village, where this is sort of, and I honestly think it's very family friendly. You can après with your kids. And it's kind of a great early dinner. So lots of the restaurants, if you're not familiar what après is, it is people come off the slopes, they're in their ski gear. This is not fancy. They're having drinks, they're having French fries, they're in a bar. It's fun. It's often outside, and it is absolutely kid friendly. Now, if you are like, no, I've done every single one of these, your client's like, well, where should I go next? A few other places. Okay, Whistler. I love Whistler so much. It is a little harder to get to. You're flying into Vancouver and then you're driving up. Depending on the timing of your flights, you might need to overnight in Vancouver. Great. It's a great city. Do that. But Vancouver is really great. And again, a lower altitude and the Canadian dollar. Zermatt, Switzerland. This is, if we're talking about Vail being a pedestrian village, Zermatt in Switzerland is also a pedestrian village, but is the actual Swiss version of it, not the American version of it. Great one to go to. And then Chamonix, France. And I mean, there's so many places in Europe you can go skiing. Chamonix is quite big. And then people are skiing in Japan. So know that this is happening. It's going to come up. Brian was over there from our team and checked out some of the hotels. There is a Park Hyatt in Osaka that I think is what he would recommend. And we are partnering with some of our ski places that can do chalets and other organization of stuff around Japanese ski. Thanks, everybody.